AB3 Anime Aaron here. Guys, I know I haven't posted anything. I have a bunch of videos to drop. I'm doing an AMV tonight. I'm doing Gintama episode 6 tonight. Hopefully that'll be posted tomorrow morning. I have to do some editing to it. And I'm also doing something right now. Right now I'm releasing 2 videos in a row. They are 2 videos that I did previously on another channel I was creating with someone else that fell through. Unfortunately, that channel did not get developed. But I did make the 2 videos and I wanted to get them out. Now, these are 2 interviews I did. Guys, I do interviews too, apparently. No, seriously, I actually do interviews too. So if you're a cosplayer, if you're an artist, if you created your own manga, or if you just want to discuss something, guys, comment down below. I will interview you. I will just debate with you. I will contact you and we can do a video together. It's cool. So without further ado, I'm going to give you guys 2 videos I did with 2 really good cosplayers, okay? And they are Lilifei and Kohalu. I will link their Instagram and everything below so that you can check out some of their stuff. Without further ado, guys, enjoy the videos.
And go.
I am Aaron. I am here with an up and coming GOAT, man. Like, this guy's work is really making its way out there. Like, let me introduce you guys to Kohalu. You guys,
hi guys.
Understand, this guy is making a name in California. That's not easy. What's up, man? How are you?
Hi, I try. Yeah, this is a very competitive scene over here.
Yeah, I mean, by definition, like, it is probably, I mean, next to Japan, of course, this is like, California is like the cosplay mecca of the U.S. So to be making a name over there, it takes real work, man.
Yeah, there's a couple of like hubs of cosplay in the U.S. I think, like California is obviously the West Coast hub, but on the East Coast you have like probably Massachusetts just because of PAX, and then more towards the middle is Atlanta. I think each of those areas has its own sort of little ecosystem.
Yeah, I've never been to PAX, man. I definitely want to check out PAX. PAX sounds like amazing, but the tickets for PAX are more than like a lot of conventions. I think it's like, God, like $600 or something like that. It's pretty up there to get into PAX.
I've been there. Yeah, I've been there once. PAX East, very fun, very cold. It was snowing the entire time, and I was in a shirtless cosplay. I was like, oh my god. Fortunately, it was a lot warmer inside, but like, those transitions.
Oh man, that is so awesome. So, as we get started, the first question I want to ask you, because you really are deep into this cosplay world, you and no bull, you're really coming out and making a name for yourself in this. Is cosplay for everyone to get into?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that as an art form, you can really take this wherever you want to go. I think it's wonderful when people that are not just the image of the magazine cover are doing cosplay as well. I think the more the merrier.
Oh, dude. So you've been in this for a couple years now, because I've done my research. I've seen, you know, some of your stuff from earlier. So how did you get into cosplaying?
I got into cosplay sort of starting back in high school over about 10 years ago now. So I was the king weeaboo of high school. I was the president of the anime and manga club, and the art club. I drew all my OCs, yada yada. And one day, one of my art club members, she's like, hey, have you ever been to Anime Expo? And I'm like, what's that? So that summer, with great effort, me and a couple of my friends went, and I saw people just walking around in dressed as the anime characters, and I was like, oh, that's awesome! Like, how hard could that be? I want to do that.
You're like, wait, you could actually do this?
So that so then I made an Ash Ketchum costume after visiting the thrift store, and like I hot glued like his sleeves in for the like the overcoat, and found like the hat on eBay and stuff.
Oh,
And so no Pokemon games had come out for a while then, at that summer, and so I was like the only Pokemon cosplayer there, and it was a huge reaction. I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome! I love it."
hey,
Just
you
sort
guys
of
need
hooked.
to understand, cosplaying thrift stores are like a cosplayer's paradise. They will find the oddest thing at a thrift store and make it look so epic. So, if you're a budget
Yes.
cosplayer, definitely check out the thrift store. Is this something that you spent a lot of time doing? Like how often are you planning cosplays? I guess is a good question.
Um, Cosplay is definitely my main hobby. I do like bodybuilding and Dungeons and Dragons fair amounts. But cosplay is always something that I am working on. There's always like a project or two being completed, or in work in progress. Um, Pretty much at all times. Like the only right now, specifically right after BlizzCon or like immediately after Anime Expo, is when I have a little free time, when I try to cool it down a little bit. Just after making a huge project, and I'm like, okay, it's time to actually play the games that I'm making costumes out of.
So, man, how would you encourage others to get into cosplaying?
I would say, like, think of something that you're really passionate about, and go from there. Like, most projects that I started out with were passion projects, and I really wanted to bring the character to life, and just sort of show how much I liked that series or that particular thing. And from there, the project will sort of work itself out. If you've never done this before, like, at this point in time, it is really, really easy to figure out how to make something or find your project already made. So, for example, 10 years ago, like, there was no such thing as thermoplastics. There were no good wigs for cosplay. Like, if the hair was not, like, if you wanted like a green haired character or anything that's like not a natural human, like, you could not find that wig, like, at all.
God, man, I didn't even think about that. That's a real statement, man. You're right. When you started cosplaying, you had to dye your hair that way. You had to style it with some gel. You couldn't just go out and order stuff like that at all, man.
Yeah, nowadays cosplay is a real industry. So I think right now it's easier than ever to get into it.
So you said make it a passion project. Have you ever just like you did Ash, but after you did Ash, did you just grab a random cosplay to go to some conventions? Or has it always been I only cosplay stuff that I really like?
At the beginning, I would only cosplay like my favorite characters and things that I was really into. But it sort of morphed after that, because eventually you just run out of favorite characters. So I've had sort of phases in my life where one year I was really into group cosplays, and I didn't like. I made a Mortal Kombat cosplay for a gender bend group, and like, I don't play Mortal Kombat. I don't know these characters, but I wanted to be part of the group and have that kind of fun. And so eventually, I don't have to care about the character to do them justice, I don't think. What matters to me at this point in life is the craftsmanship and learning new techniques and things for each costume.
See, that leads me to my next question. because guys, we're getting ready to get into some of his work, but how much time do you spend just working on these cosplays? Is it like literally, here's my project, 6 months, or is it something that happens quickly, or is it a really planned out, thorough project?
At this point, I actually don't really plan out how to make cosplays. I just sort of look at the costume and know how to do it. Like the theory crafting, I've done so much of that over the years that it's like not even really a second thought. As far as how long it takes to make each costume, I work on my cosplays maybe for about 2 hours per day. When I'm in sort of full production mode. Well, when I'm in full production mode, it's like 4 hours maybe or more. Definitely that was how long I took for Ilarion. So with that context, like it can take maybe 3 weeks for a moderate to simple costume versus like 5 months for something big like Ilarion.
Yeah. So speaking of these cosplays, and again, guys, I'm gonna show you all 3 of his cosplays, but we're going to talk about them in a specific order. We're going to go with the most known character. This is Link. Now, for this Link, you look so majestic. Like you just come across looking like you're going on a quest, and that's what the character's for. You're supposed to look like you're Link on a quest to save Zelda. You're just supposed to. So how did you go about creating this?
So the link I sent you, I wanted to make that costume as like a portfolio piece to show like either I could enter a costume contest and win, or to show that like I'm worthy of being a judge, and this is why you should respect me in my opinions.
That's awesome though. But you're basically saying, hey, look, I have range. Like it's not just I can be this massive character. Like no, guys, I can pull off a simple look, but make it look epic, even though it's so simple. Cause Link you put together, I mean, down to the yellow and gold edging around the green, like your attention to detail in this was huge, man.
Yeah, that was now that was a passion project, let me tell you. Like the chainmail that I have on that, I hand linked them together, 7,500 links. For the sword and the shield, those are fiberglass resin. I like the sword. How I made it is I got a metal bar, and then layer by layer put fiberglass and resin to build up the layers, and then cut and sanded it and shaped it down. The shield too, that's a monstrosity of resin, fiberglass, clay. That's handmade, like all of it.
Wow, dude, I had no idea. I mean, I knew that you created them because I know you make your own props, but damn, dude, like that's a lot of work, man. Do you guys understand? Like, you guys are hearing him. You see how long this takes, the artwork. So when he goes to judge your cosplay, if he goes, hey, look, maybe you should have put a little bit more time into this. Hey, listen to the guy. Like,
Yeah,
wow,
and like the embroidery, like on the scarf, you can see it in one of the pictures, like at the very end. Like I had to do that twice for each side of the scarf, and then put them together.
Wow. Dude.
Like I had in mind to make this costume somewhat like actual combat ready. So like the pauldron, that's real aluminum that I like had to bend into shape and then do a lot of like play work to do the trimming. The leather, that's real leather. That's real leather stamping.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, like you guys understand that he's telling you that as his cosplaying, he brings the character to life. In other words, he didn't just want to look like Link. He wanted to become Link for this cosplay. That's how much effort he put into this. So yes, you can get into cosplaying, but if you're really passionate about it, if it's something you really want to get into, sometimes to bring your character to life, it takes a lot of time and hard work. Now, this guy put in 10 years worth of work to get to this point. So do not expect to just automatically hop to this level of cosplay. Now, for your next character, I did my research on Kane. I actually pulled up his look. This is ridiculously exact. How did you manage to get it this close to his character?
So, fortunately, other than the scythe, Kane has sort of a simple look. Like, I like shirtless characters because the less clothes they have, the less you have to make, you know? So my pattern typically goes like, for cosplays, hard, easy, easy, hard, easy, easy, for my construction. So I would rate Kane on like the medium to easier scale of how much work actually has to go into it.
Okay.
So fortunately, I happen to be somewhat the same ethnicity as Kane, so it's not like I don't have to do like all the crazy makeup.
Oh yeah.
Or and like his armor is not too complicated. So for League of Legends armors, at least for the Darkin, that sub race or whatever, those are pretty simple. It's just like overlapping without any trim. There's no like little filigree or and stuff like that. It's just very raw.
Oh, okay.
Compared to like a Blizzard design where there's a lot of trim and there's layers and layers and layers and layers and a lot of work. The scythe, relatively speaking, was not too difficult. So I have been working a lot with 3D printing in the past couple of years, and it has really revolutionized my prop making process. Because now, so unlike when I made Link, I now have like a full-time job, a relationship to take care of. There's like, I'm not a college student anymore. I don't have infinite time. just do whatever. So I made a 3D model of his scythe from like judging by the concept art. And then I cut that into pieces and then printed it out with my 3D printers. And then I, did all the prep work afterwards, which is, a lot of sanding, the painting, the airbrushing, to get that look. But as far as, the crazy time and money that it took compared to Link, this was a lot easier and cheaper.
Really? Now that's a surprise because this scythe has got to be what 10 feet long total, maybe easily. I mean, it's
a bit older. I mean, it's a bit taller than I am. So I'm about 5'6", and so the scythe is like it can like sort of rest right behind my head without clearing it. So I would say it's like 7.5 feet tall.
Yeah, this thing
which is a lot.
Yeah,
definitely.
Especially to carry around all day. You guys, please appreciate these cosplayers. They carry these props around all day and pose for you guys to take pictures. Please appreciate that. It takes a lot of effort to carry that big thing around to make sure he looks good all day. So
yeah, man, that was nice.
Yeah. All right, so the big one that everyone wants to get to, one that you just debuted this past BlizzCon. Was it BlizzCon you debuted it? Yeah. So, man, Alarian, this thing here, kudos to you, man, because the effort put into this is absolutely stunning, man. And coming from someone who loves nerd community stuff, this is insane. The artwork, the trim, the coloring, please give us details about how you created this masterpiece here.
um, oh boy, yeah. We'll start with the armor. So in fact, I took a lot of artistic liberties with this costume to make it more interesting and more epic. So every piece of the filigree and the scroll work, that is all original to me. The character doesn't have that in the game, but in turning like this little figure on screen into real life, I think it's good to add your own embellishments and your own personal touches there. So, like, instead of just a regular blue loincloth thing, I don't know what it's called, between his legs, like, I used a silk brocade, and a lot of the details are like cast from molds. So if you can like zoom really far into the hood at the top of the forehead or here, or like those pieces are made of molds for like wedding cakes.
Seriously?
Those, yeah. Yeah, like they're meant for chocolate, but I use resin instead. And like the armor, those for the most part, those are also 3D printed. And I made the model for that and did the scroll work there. Funnily, so you see the chainmail, that is the same chainmail that I used for Link.
Okay.
Between cosplays, there are some parts that you can recycle and reuse.
That is a big thing for cosplayers. That is a good note for you guys to take down. Don't just throw this stuff away because you used it one time. It could be used to make something else epic.
Yeah, and so like the armor that touches me directly, that is generally foam. So like the shin armor on the legs, that's foam. The armor around my thighs, that's foam as well. So you have to use the right material for the right purpose. And sometimes you want it to be flexible and lightweight, so foam. Sometimes you want it to be hard, so you can get a really good clean paint job. So that's like casting and molding or 3D printing, or there's no one way to make a cosplay. There are many correct answers to these questions.
Yeah, but that's good advice though, man. Because I don't cosplay, so but I really respect cosplaying. The fact that you just gave out the note of, hey, I use foam around my legs and foam around things that touch me because it's easier to move around in. That's a really big note for someone who is just starting out, because they might go out and try to use something way harder and then they'll bend their leg, the thing breaks on you or something, or it's really hard to carry around. That's a really good note to give out to somebody, man.
Also, like, so if you're, say, getting into 3D printing and you're like, oh shit, I want to use this for everything, that's not always the best idea, because like another material might be better for the job. For 3D printing, these parts, they don't bend, they don't flex, they don't have any give whatsoever. They're super rigid. So like I see these, Iron Man suits made out of 3D printing, and like it's hard to move around. Just saying. And like if you gain like 3 pounds, suddenly you're not going to be able to wear that armor that you spent like 6 months printing out. It's the kind of thing that comes with experience and working with a breadth of materials.
Man, these notes, man, he's passing on these gems, guys. Write this stuff down, because the fact that a lot of people really expect that going to 3D printing actually makes your costume better. It does enhance it, but he's telling you straight up, like, look, 3D printing is awesome, but you do need to incorporate other things. Maybe use a leather. Maybe go with a cotton. Maybe go with something else that'll make it easier to move around. Because you're right, an entire 3D printed Iron Man costume is stiff, and the fact that he said if you gain 3 pounds, you won't be able to fit it, that is real, man. Now speaking of pounds, you take really, really good care of your body for these cosplays and stuff. Like,
Thank you.
how much time do you put into the gym for these things?
I go to the gym for about an hour a day, and that's, well, Monday to Fridays I work out an hour a day, and I've been slipping on it lately, but I also try to do some ab work in the evenings.
Now, with that being said, you do a lot of work, but it's not necessary for some of these cosplays, right? Like, you don't have to be in the super shape for a lot of these cosplays.
No, cosplay is for everyone and every body type that you want. There's nothing stopping you from, if you're a plus size individual, from doing any character that you really want. But I think that you need to keep in mind what you're hoping to get out of cosplay, in your choice of costume, because if your intention is to become like a celebrity and like an internet model or whatever, then the image becomes very important. So, because at that point, you're not cosplaying for yourself, you're cosplaying for other people, and at that point, you need to understand that you're putting yourself into the realm of like the public, and they're not going to be nice to you like the cosplay community is. And it's a terrible thing, but like, you're probably going to get bullied for your choices of not being a supermodel. So, like, my intention for a long time has been, more so when I lived in Southern California, just because sort of the cosplay atmosphere lends itself to this mindset. But like, I really, really wanted to be famous. I really, really wanted to be on the in crowd, the elite. And so I really tried to get my body into a shape that, like, even if you didn't know what the character was and you didn't care, like, you would still share it on Facebook because that's a hot guy.
That's good strategy. That is really good strategy. Man, now speaking of the notoriety of this, the reception from your last cosplay, the Larian, it was huge. How did you handle all of that reception? I mean, you have fans, dude. Like, you really have fans out there. So how do you handle all this?
It's nice. I basked in it. I mean, that's exactly what I was going for when I made the costume. And so, that made me really happy because right when I finished it, there's a lot of things that make me very unhappy. So the pictures that I sent you, that was taken the Tuesday of, like, the week before BlizzCon, like the Tuesday of BlizzCon, like a couple days before the convention. And so I got the costume done, and we got the photos processed that same night. And so I sent it to all my family, and usually their mom is pretty quick about responding, but I didn't get a response from mom. I got a response from dad, and he told me that she's in the hospital because she just had a stroke.
Oh, man.
So she never saw the pictures. And so, packed up the costume and everything. The next morning, we drove down to SoCal from where we live near San Jose, and we went to the hospital. And so after that, my BlizzCon has had this shadowing it over it, because you're at a convention, but your parents or your mom is in the hospital right now, on life support, like having machine breathe for her. So the notoriety and people's response to the costume really helped out in that time.
Helped uplift you a little bit. Now this is my first time formally talking to Kohalu. I hope to become friends with him. Dude, I'm so sorry to hear about your mom like that. I hope she's doing well or feeling a little bit better. And God bless her. I hope she does feel better, man. And that does lead us into this. You're gaining your notoriety. It does make you feel well. But how do you handle the relationships outside of this? You do have a lady. You do have your family. Is it hard to maintain those relationships while you're trying to grow in this environment?
I think that there's a balance to be had in all things in life. I don't think that it's harder for a cosplayer to maintain their relationships than anyone else, because even when I'm not making stuff, there's always something to distract you. So the plants grow where you water them, and if you let your relationship slide, like I have with a lot of my college friends, then it's just gonna keep on getting a little bit more distant as time goes on. So just with life in general, you need to be proactive in keeping your friends close. Otherwise, life is just going to go on without you in their life. So that's something that you need to cultivate.
That is a powerful statement, guys. Just remember, man, that as you grow in age, as you grow through life, you should still make an effort to reach out to people. You should still try to connect with people. Even if you grow apart, at least you put in that effort to try to maintain that relationship. We do change as people over time. We will grow as people over time. But do reach out to your old friends. Do reach out to people who you grew up with, man. It happens. You do grow apart, but it is good to still try. He's put in a lot of effort to try to maintain his relationships, even though he's growing in this environment to a point that, literally, man, you're getting invites now to go to conventions. That's a big deal. Guys, you do not understand. Going to a convention is one thing. Being invited to a convention is another thing. That's a whole nother level of growth, okay? Believe me, I'm trying. I'm trying to get to that level.
That's always been my intention. Like, I want to be the judge. I want to be, like, in the guidebook of the convention, like, we brought this guy out for you.
I feel you. I feel you so much. Believe me, that's one of my goals right now. Is I want to be the guy that they go, hey, you want to come sit in on this panel? You want to come hang out here and maybe discuss a couple things? That as a cosplayer, that has got to be an ultimate feeling of finally seeing people see your work and go, hey, we need this guy here. So
yeah, absolutely.
That has got to be awesome. But with that, there has to be some weird stuff that comes with that. Like, I understand you do have a lot of fanboys. There's nothing wrong with having fanboys, but you do have some fanboys out there too, apparently. So how do you handle the male love that you get?
I embrace it. I love it. I am bisexual. Like, I like guys too.
Oh, so congratulations on that.
Yes. Just so it's not like, it doesn't make me uncomfortable. As I enjoy it. Like, obviously, I'm in a relationship with a girl, and that's not going to change. So like, obviously I'm not going to act on anything, but you can still enjoy interactions with your fans. Like, as a guy cosplayer and in general, like, I don't really get comments on the same level that most, if not like all girl cosplayers get. Um, so like I think it's pretty universal that like pretty much every single one of my female cosplay friends has gotten like very lascivious messages from random people and on the comments on the photos and the videos and everything they put out.
Yeah.
Like I don't like most guy cosplayers I know just like don't really get messages or comments, or if they do, like it's very not much. Um, so when I get messages that are like, "Oh, you're so hot" or whatever, like I enjoy it. Like, not to say that you should be sending these things to girl cosplayers, no, but personally, I'm okay with that.
Just like he's saying, guys. I mean, if you don't believe him, check out the previous interview with Liv. Look at the comment that someone sent her. Okay, these things happen. What is the strangest thing someone has commented to you? Then, I mean, the "you so hot" thing is one thing. I'm pretty sure you get that all day. You got silky smooth hair. You got good skin. You're gonna be okay. What is the strangest thing someone has actually said to you that you were just like, wow?
After thinking about that one, I don't get a whole lot of the weird. Let's see. I guess it would be like if someone tries to make a pun about the costume. Like I don't know if you get a trainer like, oh, you can. Can I Pikachu?
That's so corny, but it's awesome. It's so true. It's so corny at the same time. Guys, please do not hit on him with puns. Okay. Just
No,
don't do
go
it.
ahead. I will take any comment I can get.
Now, with that being said, in that case, because you do seem to like a lot of the comments, has anyone ever crossed the line with you? Like, have you ever been out cosplaying and someone said something that you were just like, not cool, dude, or sent you a comment and you just were like, no, I gotta block this person?
In person, people are much more civil than online. So like in person, like it's very rare comparatively that like people would really comment about whatever I'm wearing in the good or bad. But there was an incident actually at a Renaissance fair where I was wearing sort of a medieval interpretation of Discord, the agent of chaos from My Little Pony, and it was this like shirtless vest with wings and horns and stuff, and like I was straight up groped by this like Mexican grandma.
You can't make this
Like,
stuff up.
and I was like, what? I was just bewildered. Like, I was like, was I violated?
By grandma, no
like,
less.
like she just grabbed my junk. I was like, whoa, whoa, Abuelita, hold on there.
That is so awesome, man. Oh man, grandma stories. Grandma hitting on people. This is great. So, dude, what is your big goal for this? Like, what is the ultimate end game? Like, is it I want to be able to, because eventually, and you're on the path already to making cosplay your source of income. You're coming that way, dude. Your work is literally gaining notice on my end of the world because you do live on the opposite side of the country. So you're getting invited to conventions on this side of the country, which is really cool. So what is the big goal? Is it like to be invited to Comic Con or over to Japan, or what's the big goal for you?
So I have gone to Japan twice for cosplay.
See, this is just killing my interview. So 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 you have
So
been invited to Japan twice already for cosplay.
yes, Japan, fucking fantastic, by the way. But um, the I have a couple goals in mind for cosplay. Sort of on a day-to-day basis, I just want to make pretty things. I'm very motivated by the craftsmanship. I think in phases of my life, I've had different goals of what I want out of cosplay. At the beginning, and to an extent now, definitely, I want to be invited to interesting places and be the judge and the celebrity and like someone that people look up to. But my goals have morphed somewhat year to year. Now I'm interested in going out and judging, but not as much. Now I just want to make cool things. Now my goal actually isn't to be a professional cosplayer. I don't think that's actually a very good lifestyle for me because to be a pro, you need to be on the dot with like all of popular culture and you need to be like really on the pulse of what is cool in the now because of social media. 5 years ago, it was much easier to be viral, have your numbers go skyrocket through Facebook and other social media. Now, though, it is extremely hard to get organic reach because the things that are amazing in cosplay now are on a level beyond what you needed to do back then to get that same response. Like the first time I made moving wings that went up and down, it was shared thousands of times and I got like incredible responses, like thousands and thousands of comments and likes. But now it's like crickets compared to that. So if you want to be a professional cosplayer, now is not the time to get into it. You are like 5 years too late, honestly. If you're going for that kind of thing. So with that, being cognizant of that, I've sort of given up on like I want to be professional, and also it's not the easiest lifestyle because when you do something for fun and then you start doing it professionally, it's not fun anymore necessarily.
Yeah, because then you have deadlines and the fact that you mentioned that one of the things that really makes you like your cosplays are a lot of them are passion projects. If you're just trying to do the pulse of what's new and what's hot out right now, that's definitely not the same as a passion project. You're pretty much just doing what other people like at that moment. So I completely understand that. The judging thing, I mean, dude, eventually you'll make it on a show like Face Off or something where people are just like, we know this guy. we know what he's doing. We know what he's got going on. They're like, yeah, we know him, so that'll work, man. That is awesome though, man. And you're speaking to as you evolve. I mean, you take him for example. His first cosplay is Ash. His last cosplay, Alarian. You see the difference between the two. He's evolved over time into what he's doing. And your craftsmanship, man, that's not even on Judgment. Where that is completely on another scale than your everyday cosplayer at the moment. That is like,
Thank you.
yeah, the work you've put into these things is just gorgeous, man. Man, this was a good interview, man. I'm glad I got to talk to you, dude. You're a lot cooler to talk to than I thought.
Oh, thank you.
So
you're pretty awesome.
I know you're probably not gonna do it, but these people would kill me if I didn't ask. What's the next big project, or at least the next big con that they could find you at?
I'm still deciding on the next big project. So being a very very competitive cosplayer. When I do competitions, I play to win. And like BlizzCon just sort of kind of burned me in the competition sense. So I don't know when I'm gonna make another big thing. But for the next conventions, we have a Cosplay coming up in January, I believe. Yeah, in January, which is in San Diego.
Okay.
And then right after that, I will be at Anime LA in Ontario, Southern California.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, there is Anime LA in Canada.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I was like, after I said it, I was like, wait, he did say Anime LA. So
Yes, no, there is a city in Southern California called Ontario.
okay.
So I'll be there.
That is awesome, man. Now, I'm going to Anime Expo. I do hope to meet you in person there when I'm there. I know you'll
Yes, I
have
hope
on
to see
something
you too.
absolutely ridiculous when I get there. So kudos
Maybe,
to you,
or
man.
I may be half naked.
You probably will be half naked. I don't blame you. Look, man, I just left the gym. Seriously. Like right before, you guys don't understand. I had to rush home. I had to get the camera right and everything because I literally left the gym, came straight here to do this interview. So I do know the
Yeah,
feeling.
Anime Expo is just so hot that
Dude, that's
like
what
I don't like
hear.
wearing big stuff there.
I've heard that from so many people. Like everyone's like, I keep going, yeah, I'm gonna go, and everyone's like, dude, it's hot. It is so hot there.
Yeah, just cosplayers, so you know, it's really hot at Anime Expo. Like, I'm gonna be shirtless. Like,
He's like, there's no way I would have put on that Larian armor at Expo. It's just not happening.
No, like that's not how it works.
Dude, thank you for doing this interview for me. This is a new channel. Guys, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow this video, share this video as much as you can. Follow him on social media, guys. We will have all the links to his social media in the comments below. Please follow him and support him in his future endeavors. Kohalu, thank you for doing this interview with me. You were really awesome, man. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It was a blast talking with you.
All right, man. And guys, see you guys in the next video.